She's a doctor. You're just worthless, my dad told me in front of everyone. Now she folds hoodies at retail, and they're living in a two-bedroom with no AC while I'm thriving. Hey, Reddit, you ever grow up in a family where one kid is treated like royalty and the other like the help? That was my life. My sister Kara, 29 female, could do no wrong. Straight A doctor, family pride, center of every conversation. Me, Raphael, year me Yeti male, apparently just the spare. I kept my head down, built my life, stayed out of their mess. But when things started falling apart on their end, guess who they came running to? What they didn't expect was that I'd finally stop playing along. And what came next? Yeah, they earned every second of it. Growing up, I thought family was supposed to mean support, love, that kind of cheesy sitcom nonsense. Turns out in my house it meant worship Kara and shut up about it. Kara, my older sister, the golden child, future of the family, was apparently sent from the heavens to show me what disappointment looks like when you live in the same house. She was 2 years older, straight A student, skipped a grade once, made the honor roll like it was a side hobby. And of course, she became a doctor. Because of course she did. The second she got into med school, the entire household turned into her personal fan club. My mom actually cried like Kara just cured cancer the day she got her acceptance letter. I swear my dad printed out her email and framed it. Meanwhile, I was over in the corner like, cool, I passed math. And they didn't even look up from their phones. And that was just the beginning. By the time Kara actually graduated and got her white coat and shiny stethoscope, it was like living with royalty. Everything she did turned into a flex. She'd come home for holidays, park her brand new Lexus in front of the house, toss her Louis Vuitton bag on the couch, and pretend she didn't smell the poor air I apparently carried with me. Thanksgiving? A Kara highlight reel. Christmas? Kara's charity work. Even my damn birthday once turned into a backhanded celebration of Kara. I brought a girl I was dating to one family dinner, and Kara deadass looked her up and down and said, "Oh wow, you're so brave for dating someone so artistic." I'm not even an artist. She just meant poor. Every time I'd say something about work, I do project management, nothing fancy but stable. My parents would straight up ignore it or respond like I told them I was working at a lemonade stand. Raphael, have you considered getting a real job? Maybe one day you'll do something that matters. That was their version of support. Once, and I mean once, I tried to speak up. It was after Kara got some hospital award, and we were all eating dinner at this weird overpriced place she picked. I brought up a project I had just wrapped at work, trying to get maybe 5% of the room's attention for 30 seconds. My dad looked at me, dead serious, and said, "She's a doctor. You're worthless." Just like that. No smile, no sarcasm, just straight to the point like I was a mistake they were still stuck with. My mom laughed so hard she had to wipe her eyes. Kara didn't even look up from her food. Daniela, my girlfriend, was there too. She squeezed my knee under the table, and that was the only reason I didn't lose it right there. I didn't say anything back, just nodded and kept eating. That was the day I stopped trying to be seen. Kara, meanwhile, could talk about suturing a guy's eyelid back on after a car crash, and everyone would act like she descended from Olympus. She's just gifted, my mom once. And if you think my parents ever stepped in or told her to cut it out, absolutely not. They encouraged it. They'd laugh, nod, even add their own jabs. My mom once called me her creative little late bloomer, like I was a toddler playing with blocks. Kara's golden status wasn't about what she did. It was who she was to them. Their success story. Their bragging rights. And I was just the footnote. The, he's doing okay too, I guess, kid. Except I wasn't even doing bad. I had my own decent apartment, not big, not small, decent savings, solid job. No loans, no scandals, just not shiny enough for them to care. Even holidays got weird. Kara would bring these pretentious gifts, imported wine, fancy leather journals, God knows what, and then roll her eyes when I showed up with something from Target. One year, she gave our parents a weekend spa getaway. I gave them a digital photo frame. My mom didn't even unwrap it. She just said, "Oh, useful," and moved it aside like it was a sack of potatoes. Daniela once told me I should record these dinners and sell them as psychological case studies. How golden child syndrome ruins entire bloodlines. She wasn't kidding. She saw the worst of it. The birthday where my own mom forgot to text me but posted Kara's baby photo collage with a caption like, "We're so blessed to have her." I wasn't even tagged. And Kara? She didn't care. She didn't pretend to care. She'd smirk through family events, sipping her overpriced coffee and tossing out jabs like confetti. Still in that shoebox apartment? Still doing Whatever it is you do, my grandparents were the only ones who ever gave a damn about me without it being tied to Kara. My grandfather used to pull me aside and ask real questions, like actual interest in my life. And my grandma? She said she was proud of me, always. But they were old, quiet, not the kind of people who'd go against the rest of the family out loud. So yeah, that was my life. Kara the queen, me the court jester. For a while I thought maybe that's just how it'd always be. Some people are born to be background noise, I guess. But then things changed. Not suddenly. Not all at once. But something shifted. And trust me when I say, Kara, she was not built for losing. And I was not about to be their backup plan. So, I was working late one night when I saw Kara's name pop up on my phone. No text. A straight-up phone call. Which was weird enough already, considering she never called me unless she was trying to humble brag about some award, or ask if I could help set up her Wi-Fi like I was the family tech guy. It was just after 11 p.m. I stared at it for a second, thinking maybe she meant to call someone else. But then it rang again. Same number. I answered with, "You dial wrong?" All I heard was sobbing, ugly, hiccupy, completely broken crying. For a second, I thought maybe something happened to our parents. Not that I'd wish for it, but it was the only thing that made sense. Kara doesn't do vulnerable. "Raphael," she choked out. "I don't know what to do." I didn't say anything at first. Not because I cared, but because my brain was still catching up. This was Kara, Golden Child Kara, Ice Queen Kara, acting like her world just collapsed on my voicemail. She tried to explain through all the crying, but I couldn't get half of it until she finally calmed down a bit. Turns out she screwed up. Big time. She didn't say the exact details, because even now she's too proud to admit it. But it happened during surgery. She made some mistake, and the hospital did not take it lightly. She was fired. Straight up. Not suspended, not demoted, fired. And on top of that, the patient's family was suing her personally. So in one shot, she lost her job, her salary, her reputation, and was about to be slapped with legal fees she couldn't even begin to cover. "And what do you want from me?" I asked. Not sarcastic, just straight. I don't know, more sobbing. "I don't have anywhere else to go. I should have said no right then. Shut it down and gone to bed. But instead, like an idiot, I said, 'You need a place to stay?' 'Yes,' she whispered. 'Just for a little, just until I figure it out.' So yeah, I said okay. I told her she could crash in the guest room at my place. No money, no loans, just a roof temporarily. I made that part very clear. And I wasn't doing it because I forgave her, or because I felt sorry. Honestly, I was just curious. I wanted to see how far she'd actually fallen. It was the same kind of sick curiosity people get when they see a car wreck and slow down. She showed up the next afternoon. Kara, who used to walk into family dinners, like she was being photographed for a magazine, now looked like she'd been hit by a bus. Hair messy, sweatpants 2 sizes too big, dragging 2 suitcases and a duffel bag behind her, like she'd just escaped a burning building. She barely said a word when I opened the door. Just mumbled a thank you and walked in like she wasn't sure if this was real. Daniela was in the kitchen when Kara arrived, and the look on her face? Man, if looks could launch missiles, we'd have been vaporized. She didn't say anything, but I could tell this was going to be tense. Let me explain. Daniela remembered everything. Every jab Kara threw, every snide remark about my apartment, my job, her, especially her. Kara once made fun of Daniela's job during a family BBQ. Said something about wasting time working at a startup that'll fold in 6 months. It didn't. Daniela's doing fine. But yeah, it stuck. So yeah, they were not off to a friendly start. First couple days, Kara barely left the guest room. She showered, made microwave meals, and avoided eye contact. She wouldn't even sit with us during dinner. It was weird, like she was trying to disappear into the drywall. I didn't push. Let her stew. Then the calls from my parents started. First it was my mom, pretending to check in like she didn't know Kara was staying here. Real sugary tone, asking how I was doing, if I was eating enough, if I was holding up, whatever that means. She didn't say thank you, not once. Not even a fake one. Then came my dad, and he dropped the act completely. "Look, your sister's going through a hard time," he said like I hadn't already figured that out. "We're all trying to help her, Raphael. It'd mean a lot if you could, contribute." Contribute? Money-wise? There it was. See, apparently, they had already burned through their own savings trying to support Kara. Rent, lawyers, bills. Which is funny, because last time I needed help with a used car payment, they told me to be a man and figure it out. So now, all of a sudden, I'm supposed to become the backup fund for the family golden child? Nope. I told him straight. I can give her a room and that's very generous of me. But that's it. I'm not paying for her lawsuit. He got quiet. Then tried the guilt trip route. Said things like, we're family, and Kara gave so much to this family, and my personal favorite. Don't you want to step up for once? I hung up. Things started getting weird after that. Kara got nosy. She'd ask questions that didn't really fit, like, are you still working on that big contract thing? Or, you still doing those side projects, right? Stuff that seemed harmless at first, but then I caught her looking through my mail, my bank statements. Left out on the counter? Sure. But still, she was snooping. Then one day I walked in and heard her on the phone. Didn't mean to eavesdrop, but her voice carried through the hallway. She was talking to Mom. I think he has more than he lets on, she was saying. I don't know yet, but I'll figure it out. That was it. That's all I needed to hear. I didn't say anything that night, or the next. I waited, watched. I checked my accounts, set up alerts, changed a few passwords, moved some savings out of my main. Something about her face had shifted. She wasn't just desperate. She was calculating, like she thought she could manipulate her way through this, just like she always had. But I wasn't the same Raphael anymore. And this time, I wasn't going to let them use me. She thought she was playing chess. She had no clue I was 3 moves ahead. Anyways, she started being nice. That's how I knew something was off. Kara wasn't the kind of person who apologized or suddenly found kindness in her bones. But 3 days after that weird phone call I overheard, the one where she told our mom he has more than he lets on, she came out of the guest room with her hair brushed and a polite little smile like nothing had ever happened. Hey, she said one morning. I made eggs. She'd never cooked for me in her life. She slid the plate in front of me like we were suddenly roommates on good terms. Sat across from me like she didn't spend the last decade looking at me like I was gum stuck to her Jimmy Choos. I just nodded and ate in silence. Next couple of days, she kept it going, asking how my work was going, dropping weirdly timed compliments, laughing a little too hard when I said something barely funny. You've always been smart, Raphael. You just don't show it off like some people. Oh, so now I'm smart. I didn't bite, just kept things neutral. Let her talk. Then she started asking the kind of questions that weren't about bonding. You ever think of moving into a bigger place? Your job still pays well, right? You're good with savings, huh? Like budgeting and all that? I gave her the flattest responses I could manage. It was subtle the way she did it, like she was trying not to sound too interested. But I've dealt with recruiters, sales reps, ex-girlfriends who wanted just one more conversation. I know when someone's trying to pull info. She was looking for an opening, a weakness, something she could tap into. Daniela noticed it too. One night after Kara had gone back to the guest room, she closed the bedroom door and turned to me. She's sniffing around your money, she said flat out. You see it, right? I nodded. She's got that look, like when she used to ask if you wanted to split a gift for Mom's birthday and then took credit for the whole thing. I chuckled a little. I'm not giving her anything. Good, because if you do, I'm breaking up with you and I will move out. And take the air fryer. Fair. But I wasn't planning to hand over a single cent. Still, I needed to know how deep this thing went. So I waited. A couple days later, I came home early from work. Normally, I text ahead, but this time I didn't. I walked in quietly and heard her voice before I even got my shoes off. She was in the kitchen, on speakerphone again, talking to Mom. I paused near the hallway, close enough to hear, but not close enough to be spotted. No, not yet. I'm trying, Kara said. He's being weird about money. I don't think he trusts me. Then Mom's voice came through, all sharp and agitated. Then make him. You're his sister. Just ask. Act like it's for groceries or rent or something small. Once you know what he has, we can work from there. You're smart. You'll figure it out. I froze. They weren't just hoping I'd help out. They were actively planning to squeeze me dry. Kara didn't even push back. She didn't say, that's wrong, or I don't want to lie. She just said, okay, I'll try again later. That was the moment it all clicked. Kara wasn't some broken-down version of her former self, crashing at my place out of desperation. She wasn't rebuilding. She wasn't healing. She was repositioning. Still playing the same game, just from a different angle. And I was the next mark. I didn't walk in. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I backed away, grabbed my keys, and left the apartment. Got in my car and sat there for 10 minutes, just staring at the dashboard. She was really going to do it. After everything. After all the years of being horrible, being cruel, getting everything handed to her, she still looked at me like a tool. Not a brother, Not a person, just a wallet with Wi-Fi. I went back inside like nothing happened. She smiled when she saw me, said something fake like, "Hey, you're home early." "Yeah," I said. "Slow day." She went back to the guest room, closed the door, probably started brainstorming new strategies. I walked into my room, locked the door behind me, and opened my laptop. First, I called my bank and told them I wanted alerts for everything. Withdrawals, logins, transfers, even cashback rewards, I didn't care. Then I started setting up something else. A test. I wasn't just going to block her. I was going to catch her. And when I did, she wasn't going to cry her way out of it. She thought I was still the quiet little brother, sitting in her shadow and happy to get scraps. But I've been patient for years. She messed with the wrong, worthless sibling. I gave her one more week. Not because I felt bad. I just wanted to see if she'd actually do it. If she was really going to steal from me, if she'd cross that line, I needed her to prove it. So I set the bait. I picked one of my smaller side accounts. Nothing major. Just a few hundreds I kept around from an old freelance gig. Mostly untouched, not connected to my main banking. I logged into it on my tablet and left it sitting out in the kitchen, screen open, like I'd forgotten to close it. On it, a simple transfer page, pre-filled with $750, ready to send. I even added a sticky note on the case that said, "Need to move this?" Something vague and stupid, like I'd left it for myself and forgot. That same morning, I left for work around 9 a.m., except I didn't go anywhere. I walked around the block, came in through the side gate, and sat in the backyard with my laptop and a signal booster. I had everything connected remotely. Screen recorder running, alerts set up. I was watching everything from the patio like a ghost. At 9:46 a.m., the alert popped up. Login from unfamiliar device. Then 9:49 a.m., $750 transfer initiated. I pulled up the screen recording. There she was, Kara, sitting at my kitchen table, looking completely casual, like she was doing online shopping, not stealing from her own brother. She didn't even flinch. She clicked through the transfer like it was hers, confirmed the amount, hit submit, transferred $750 to her own checking account. Her name was on it. No effort to hide it. No second thought. She wiped the tablet screen down with a dish towel and walked off like nothing happened. I waited some time before going inside. She was on the couch when I came in, pretending to read some book she probably pulled off the shelf for show. She looked up and smiled, like everything was cool. "Hey, why are you back already? Is everything okay?" I didn't answer. I walked over, dropped a folder on the coffee table, and sat across from her. She looked down at the folder, opened it. Inside, printouts of the transfer log, screenshots, timestamps, her name, her account, her digital fingerprints all over it. Her face dropped. "What is this?" she said, already knowing. "You tell me." She stared at it, said nothing. "You stole from me, Kara." "It was just sitting there." "Yeah, in my account, on my device, in my house." "I didn't think you'd notice." "Oh, that makes it fine then." She stood up, crossed her arms. "It was only $750? I stood up too. "Cool. Then you can give it back, get your things, and get out." "You're seriously kicking me out? Over that? Number, I'm kicking you out because you planned to do this. Because you were on the phone with Mom last week plotting it. Because you lied to my face while you were scoping out my money like some con artist. I needed help, Raphael. You needed help? Number, you wanted to be rescued. Like always." She started to cry, but it felt hollow. Forced. She wasn't sorry. She was pissed she got caught. "You've always hated me," she said through her teeth. "Number, I just stopped pretending you were better than me." She stormed off to the guest room, slammed the door. I heard drawers opening, bags rustling. While she packed, I made the call, filed the report, uploaded the screenshots, sent over the timestamps, the video, everything. The officer said it was more than enough to press charges. Theft, unauthorized access, maybe even fraud depending on how the DA viewed it. I told him to go ahead. It didn't all happen instantly, obviously. The legal stuff takes some time to process. But I didn't need overnight revenge. I just needed it to stick. And it did. That night, my parents showed up. Didn't knock. Just barged in like I owed them a goddamn explanation. "You filed a police report against your sister?" My dad barked, standing in my hallway like he still had any authority over me. "Yep," I said, without even looking up. My mom shoved past him, all worked up. "What is wrong with you? She's your family. She stole from me. She made a mistake. Funny. When I made mistakes, you told me to man up and deal with life. That's different. How?" They didn't answer. I stood up and pointed toward the door. You've got 2 minutes to leave before I file a second report, this time for trespassing. You ungrateful brat, my dad snapped. You raised a thief, I shot back. You made her this way. You let her walk all over me for years while you laughed about it. And now you expect me to just let it slide? Not happening. My mom's voice cracked. We raised you. We fed you. We gave you a home. Yeah. And in that home, you made sure I knew exactly where I ranked. Kara first, me second, when convenient. They stared at me, furious, speechless. I opened the door. Clock's ticking. They left. Kara didn't say a word the rest of the night. She finished packing in silence. Next morning, she was gone. But I wasn't done. I drove to my grandparents' house and sat across from my grandfather in the dining room. Laid out the folder. Showed him the same proof. He read every page. Quiet. Focused. Then he looked at me and said one word. All right. And in that moment, I knew the fallout wasn't just mine to deliver. He was about to bring the storm. I didn't ask what he meant. Didn't need to. My grandfather was a quiet man. But when he decided something, that was it. No second chances. No walking it back. 2 days later, he called me and said, dinner. This weekend. Everyone's coming. That's all he said. Then he hung up. I didn't tell Daniela much, just that I'd be out Saturday night. She raised an eyebrow and said, funeral or bloodbath? I shrugged. Hopefully both. When I got to their place, I could already tell this wasn't a normal family dinner. No smells from the kitchen. No jazz music playing like Grandma usually had. Just silence. I walked into the dining room and there they were. Kara, sitting stiff at the far end of the table. My parents on either side of her. My grandmother next to Grandpa, arms crossed. Everyone looked like they'd rather be anywhere else. No hugs, no hellos. I took a seat, waited. Grandpa folded his napkin, placed it on the table, and cleared his throat. We need to talk. Kara looked down at her lap. My mom gave that fake, concerned face she always pulled out for dramatic family moments. My dad? He was trying to keep a straight face, but you could tell he was ready to explode if he didn't like what he heard. Grandpa didn't waste time. I know what happened, he said. Raphael showed me everything. Silence. He turned to my parents. You knew she stole from him, and instead of fixing it, you tried to guilt him for defending himself. He's blowing it out of proportion. My mom snapped, already defensive. She made a mistake. Grandma cut in sharp. She committed a crime. The room went dead quiet. She accessed his account, Grandma continued. She transferred money. She thought no one would find out. And when she was caught, she didn't apologize. She called you two, and you told her to lie. My dad leaned forward, already fuming. Are you really taking his side? I'm taking the side of the one who didn't steal, Grandpa said. Calm, dead serious. Then he pulled out the will. Old man didn't wait. He looked them all in the eye and said, We're updating it. My mom's face cracked like glass. What? Everything you were supposed to inherit, Grandpa said, sliding the paperwork across the table, is being removed. You won't get the house. You won't get the trust. You won't get the life insurance. None of it. I've been your son for 55 years, my dad barked. And what did you do with that time? Grandma snapped. You raised a daughter who thinks she can lie, steal, and manipulate, and a son you ignored unless he was useful. Then Grandpa turned to Kara. You had everything, he said. All the help, all the praise, all the money. And what did you do? You stole from the one person in this family who never owed you anything. Kara opened her mouth like she was about to cry. Nothing came out. You're being cruel, my mom said. This isn't right. He's poisoning you against us. He didn't have to say anything, Grandpa replied. Your actions said it for you. Then came the line, I'll never forget. If you want to live off someone else's work, go figure it out. But it won't be ours anymore. I sat there, quiet. Not because I didn't have anything to say, but because I didn't need to say anything. They were finally hearing the truth from someone who mattered to them, and they couldn't handle it. Kara's eyes were glassy. Her lips were trembling, but no apology. No regret. Just panic. She didn't expect this. She thought she'd walk away from the theft, maybe cry her way back into sympathy later. Not anymore. My dad tried to push back one last time. You can't just cut us out. We're your family. Exactly, Grandpa said, standing up. And family doesn't treat each other like this. Dinner was over before it started. My grandmother didn't even bother bringing out food. She just stood, picked up the stack of paperwork, and walked out of the room like it was done, like they were already erased. My mom looked at me on the way out, face pale, jaw clenched. I hope you're proud of yourself, she hissed. I didn't flinch. I am. They left. No hugs. No fake promises to call. just stiff shoulders and heavy footsteps. Kara was the last one to walk out. That night, after they all left like ghosts, I got a text from Kara. First time she messaged me since the whole thing blew up. Kara, I know things got out of hand. I didn't mean for it to end up like this. Can we just talk? Didn't even say sorry. Just that vague, fake peace crap she always pulled when she needed something. I left it on red. The next week, I found out the update to the will was already notarized. Grandpa moved fast. He wasn't bluffing. The will was changed within days. I got a call from Grandpa's attorney just to confirm some contact info, and that was that. My parents and Kara? Cut out completely. Not a partial trim. Not a, you'll still get something small. Just gone. Erased. It was weirdly quiet after that. No calls, no texts, no new guilt trips. At first, I figured they were regrouping, trying to come up with a new plan. Maybe soften Grandpa or turn Grandma against me. But nothing came. Then, one Monday morning, Daniela was eating cereal in the kitchen scrolling through her phone. And she went, "Holy crap. What?" She turned the screen around. A post from a local job board. It was Kara's name, clear as day. Now hiring. Seasonal floor staff. Applicant previously held medical license. I blinked. Took the phone. Read it twice. It didn't mention the charges, but it didn't have to. Everyone in our extended circles knew by now. Kara's hospital contacts dried up the second the theft report hit the system. She wasn't just unemployed. She was untouchable. The medical board had opened an inquiry into her surgical mistake, the one that got her fired in the first place. I'd heard whispers through a family cousin who worked in healthcare that it wasn't just a bad call in the OR, it was a documented screw-up, something that violated protocol. The family of the patient was pushing hard on the lawsuit. They wanted a permanent mark on her record, and last I heard, the board was likely going to revoke her license completely. Not suspend. Revoke. Daniela took a sip of her coffee and said, "Well, she always said you were beneath her. Guess she finally made it down here." I laughed harder than I should have. She was working retail. Not management. Not even pharmacy-related. Just folding t-shirts and greeting people like she didn't used to sneer at that kind of work. The girl who once mocked Daniela for working at a startup, now she was selling clearance hoodies while pretending not to recognize old coworkers. And the parents? Their situation unraveled even faster. Remember how they used to flaunt that modest but comfortable lifestyle? Weekend brunches, trendy furniture, new electronics every year. All smoke. All of it was funded by Kara behind the scenes. Without her, they were screwed. Grandpa didn't just change the will. He also cut off their monthly support. Turns out, for years, he'd been quietly helping with certain bills. Not much, but enough to keep them from dipping into real debt. Didn't even know he was floating them until after he pulled the plug. Guess they kept that little detail quiet while calling me the useless one. But when he found out they'd been exploiting both their kids, that stopped too. Their lease? Gone. They couldn't afford the condo anymore. They downgraded hard to some cheap two-bedroom rental in the part of town they used to whisper about like it was cursed. Moldy walls, loud neighbors, no central AC. And they had to share it with Kara because she had nowhere else to go. On top of that, they were in debt. No more luxury holidays. No more smug family dinners. No more pretending. Oh, and as for the theft charge? Yeah, that stuck too. I might have only lost $750, but the police didn't care about the amount. The evidence was airtight. Login timestamps, screen recordings, account ownership, the works. Kara got formally charged with theft by unauthorized access and digital fraud. The charges didn't land her in jail. First offense, no priors, and I didn't push for maximum punishment. But it did result in probation, fines, and a permanent mark on her record. She had to pay me back, court-ordered, plus cover court fees. And more importantly, that record destroyed any chance she had of getting hired in healthcare again. Even if the medical board hadn't taken her license, no hospital in the state would bring on someone flagged for fraud, especially one who'd stolen from her own family. So yeah, Kara's career? Done. Not paused. Not rerouted. Finished. I didn't reach out. Neither did they. But I started hearing things. One of my cousins, the only one I actually talked to, said my dad tried floating this story at a family barbecue about how Raphael turned on the family over a misunderstanding. Apparently, he made it sound like Kara had accidentally logged into my account and that I overreacted. Then my cousin asked if that's what actually happened. And my dad said something like, "Well, there's always two sides." Yeah, sure, there's two sides. One is reality, and the other is them. A week later, I got a letter in the mail. Not from a lawyer, from my mom. Old school, handwritten, like that was supposed to make it more sincere. She opened it with, "I don't know what we did to deserve this." Oh, I could list it out for you, Mom. 4 pages of emotional blackmail. She said Grandpa was being manipulated, that I'd let my bitterness poison the family, and that Kara was just scared and made a poor decision. She even had the nerve to write, "We sacrificed so much for you. Your sister gave up weekends to study, and we were there every step of the way. Why can't you show the same loyalty? Sacrificed for me? They couldn't even tag me in a birthday post. And Kara? Giving up her weekends to study wasn't for me. It was for the white coat and the Lexus. But sure, I'm the ungrateful one. Still no apology, no accountability. Just the usual spin. We did our best. You were always so sensitive. Family sticks together." She ended it with, "We hope someday you'll remember who was there for you when no one else was." Which is funny, considering they never were. I didn't respond. But the next morning, I got a knock at the door. It was Kara. No makeup. Greasy hair pulled back in a sloppy bun. Wearing a cheap branded polo and beige khakis from whatever store she was working at. She looked like a ghost of the person she used to be. "Can we talk?" she asked. I stood in the doorway, didn't invite her in. "About what?" She looked at the ground. I wanted to say I'm sorry." I didn't speak. "I messed up," she said. "I thought you'd never find out. And when you did, I didn't know what to say. I panicked. And now everything's gone." I crossed my arms. My job, my apartment, Mom and Dad, they're losing it. I'm working retail. Like actual retail. On my feet all day. Getting barked at by customers. Kids yelling. People ignoring me. "Sounds like life," I said. She looked up. "I'm not here to ask for anything." I raised an eyebrow. "Not money," she added quickly. "I swear. I guess I didn't realize how badly I treated you. I thought I was better. I didn't think I was hurting anyone." "That's the problem," I said. "You never thought about anyone else at all." She nodded. Stayed quiet. "I'm not here to be forgiven," she said after a while. I needed you to know I get it now." I didn't say much else. Just stood there. After a while, she stepped back. "Well, that's all I came to say." Then she left. I watched her walk down the steps in those stiff khakis and ugly shoes. That was the same girl who once laughed when I told her I was budgeting for rent. Who said, "You still live in that shoebox"? Now she was stuck in a real shoebox. And I didn't feel sorry. Not even a little. Later that week, Daniela and I sat on the couch eating pizza and watching something dumb. She looked over at me and said, "You good?" "Yeah," I said. "Because you've been kind of quiet lately." I thought about it. About everything. About being the forgotten sibling. The joke. The background noise to Kara's highlight reel. About how they all treated me like I was just taking up space. And how now, without me, they were all barely holding it together. "I'm not mad anymore," I said. She nodded. "I'm just done." That night, I slept better than I had in years.